Hello, folks. Real honor today to have as part of Burning Platform Sandy Loeb and Mariana Nino, both from Zoho Global Marketing. You know, analyst summits are my favorite event when it comes to vendor events. And last year, Zoho had a event in India that just I said nobody will be able to top this. Guess what? They had an event a couple of weeks ago in the Rio Grande Valley in Texas, one of the new offices, one of the new offices. And unbelievably, Sandy and the team, I think topped even that. So I've
Mhm.
invited them to present on the logistics and some of the pictures and videos from the event. So Sandy and Mariana, thank you so much for joining me. That was an amazing event you hosted. So first of all, introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Vinny. Thanks for the compliments. I think the expectations each time get higher and higher, and we ourselves set pretty high expectations, for our team and the type of event we deliver too. So, hi everybody. I'm Sandy Lowe. I've been at Zoho now for almost 6 years, believe it or not. My role is the global head of corporate communications, and my colleague Mariana.
Hi, yes, Mariana Nino, and I'm the office manager at the local McAllen office.
Well,
So,
welcome, ladies. And why don't we kick it off with a video of that you had summarizing the event? Would that be okay?
Of
awesome.
course, thank you.
Wow. So you had 125 analysts, 17 customer executives, and 60 employees. Oh my God. That's talk a little bit about the just the dimension of the number of people and the God, they had to come into three different airports, right? I flew into one and some of the others flew into others. So talk about all the complexity of
Yeah.
all coordinating all these people.
Wow. Well, we are a very global company, and it was really important for us that our guests also reflect that very global distribution. We have markets in Middle East Africa, Australia, New Zealand, Southeast Asia, and of course, India, US, Canada. And it was very important that we extend the invitation to guests from anywhere where Zoho has a big presence. So, yes, the entire logistics process it was quite something, and I know Mariana can chime in more in terms of on the ground transportation. But it was really also important for us that we do not outsource anything, for better or worse. And Vinny, maybe you can tell us your take. But we ourselves, our team, our extended team, we book the travel ourselves because it's that important for us that every aspect of guest journey, from travel all the way to post-event survey, is very individualized and personalized. So it was quite the spreadsheet. I don't want to say hell, but it was quite the spreadsheet nightmare with a lot of coordination going on. And then I know people had to make the extra connection in McAllen, which we appreciate, and it's the extra work. So the last thing we wanted was for people to, after a long journey, make a connection to McAllen and then have to scramble on where they should go. So one of the things we did was we arranged for, ground limos to pick everybody up at all the different times, the different airport locations, to make sure that once they land, they know that we have a journey prepared for them. So they hopefully could just sort of relax a little bit and follow the experience. And I know, Mariana, if you want to talk about the limo and the welcome experience, because I know you were on the ground.
Yeah, it was amazing. The whole thing, the way you thought it out. First of all, I got to say, uh, your group, the global group, the PR, wow, they were amazing the way they worked together and they made this happen with you. I think it reflects a lot on you though. But let me go into the transportation. So they called me since I'm local and I've been here all my life. They asked me, hey, can you help us? So I'm like, sure. So I went to the best, coach service that we had. And I, got best limo service that we have here that I know of. And uh, Sandy always said, I want this to be an experience. I know they're going to be tired with the connecting flights and all. So we want them, to get in the car and just, be able to say, oh, okay. And, go on, continue their journey because they still had an evening to continue into. So that was also another thing. I'm sorry that she did comment. She's like, I would love it to be a mother-daughter team. So when they arrive, that you're there and you welcome them. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's such a good idea. So yeah, so my daughter was there. She works for Zoho. I work for Zoho. We were I started, but then I had to leave because I had some office duties. So I had to run back, and my daughter stayed there with Tom, and I think they were able to welcome a lot of you into the valley and get you in the limo and get you off, to your hotel. And yeah, it was I'm not gonna say it was crazy, the
It was,
booking, everything.
it was, it
Because
was,
really,
it was
go ahead.
seamless. I mean, just, um, I'm thinking, well, let's go through the slides because you're going to go through
Oh,
all
okay.
the things you did, right? But it was very seamless. Sandy, one thing, on behalf of all the other vendor marketing folks, one criticism: you spoil us analysts. They don't treat us the way you do. So thank you.
Well,
Let's
I'm happy to hear that. Thanks, Vinny. We try, but
okay, Mariana, you want to talk about the opening ceremony a little?
Yes. So the opening ceremony, Miss Sandy came to me and she's like, "Okay, we're gonna have a reception." And I remember we would do it over video. We would talk about it, and she's like, "It has to be something, we wanted. It was very important for her to be a memory for you guys. The whole event. She didn't want just this to be a convention. She always said an experience. So I was like, oh my gosh, what is big here that can, you know, be so grand for them? And I'm like, okay, it's Texas, but it's also Mexico. And I mean, the only thing I could think of was the mariachi. And we have such great mariachis. The mariachi here that we have, that's from the University of Texas, the Rio Grande Valley. And not this one specifically, but they, back when Obama became president, they actually went to his inauguration. Sorry. And they played for him. And when they played for him, he was so touched. I mean, he was so touched, and that's when he came out with DACA for the students. So I was like, okay, we have to have him for Sandy and for her analyst, because I know you're very important for it's very important for her. So, and then the folklorico dancers also from the university, and it's culture. It's her culture. I'm sorry. So it turned out to be exactly what I thought. So I mean, they're known. They always go to California actually, and they play there. So that's what came to mind. And when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, this is so awesome. So yeah, so that's the slide here of the mariachi, and then Delgado also. Um, the food. I had been
So,
to places. Sorry,
Mariana, what was this?
that those are the folklorico dancers, also from the university here, the Rio Grande Valley University,
Okay.
UTRGV. Yes, and they're excellent. I mean, I know that they're so good. They, like I said, they go to California to big events, and I think they're like 5 stars.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now this was
folkloricos and mariachi.
this was walking distance from both the convention
Okay.
center where the event was and the hotel, right? I
Yes,
thought that was a brilliant location
Yeah.
because most of us were tired, so you just
Mhm.
walk from the hotel to the event. So that was very, very thoughtful of you, but it worked out very well.
Sandy.
Yeah,
And
yeah, it was something intentional because people were getting in at different times, and we wanted them to come in and feel the colors, feel the vibrancy, and feel the music. And just like Mariana said, so touchingly, it is
sorry.
so authentic to the culture and everything that we wanted to do, at least in the evening, not the presentations, but the evening, we wanted to reflect an aspect of Rio Grande Valley and the city of McAllen. So, I hope that you felt that, Vinny, in coming to the welcome reception.
Absolutely. And what was also thoughtful was I noticed you obviously had some Tex-Mex food. You had some Indian food, right? And you had multiple types of grilled food. Talk a little bit about the cuisine you had there.
Yeah, well, the cuisine each night, each evening event, they're all prepared by the most famous and most the most famous caterer and chef in the valley and beyond, Larry Delgado from Delgado Catering. For the first night, you saw a very global affair, and again, it was to reflect that global nature of our company, of our customer presenters, and of our guests. Analysts representing 16 countries. We wanted to show that, yes, this is in the Rio Grande Valley. Let's show its significance in the culture and the dances and the music. But, in terms of the food, we wanted to celebrate this global theme that we were trying to create.
Um, and Mariana, anything else on this night? Because this was just the beginning. You have so many more things to talk about.
I know. Well, I love this picture where Schroeder's went up there and he started taking pictures. And other analysts came up to me and he said, when the mariachis were playing, and he said that it made it memorable, and for me as well. I didn't know it was going to be memorable for me, but memorable for me, but it is. So he came up to me and he says, that they're playing eight strings and they're just playing them so beautifully. I'm like, wow, he's actually, they know. I was amazed how they knew. But what Sandy actually was here on the ground with Raju, Vinny, um, Tejas, and they walked the convention center and they walked this, we call it the Oval Park here, where this happened, where the folklorico dancers are at. And they were like, yeah, this is the place. We have to have Soho Day here.
Now, didn't the mayor of McAllen present and welcome everybody?
Yes, he welcomed everybody and he set this tone to the beginning of the reception. And yeah, he went up there, he spoke. Also, our McAllen Economic Development Center, they were there also to speak. And it was great. I mean, they have a very good relationship with us. They have like rolled out the red carpet to us when, since Soho opened the office here. And I was there since the beginning. So I was very glad that they were there. And actually, that following day, he was doing his the city of the state address as we were doing our convention on the 7th. So it was really special that he took that time and he was out there to welcome everybody and set the tone.
In fairness, you brought them a lot of business over the 3 days. So I'm sure that
Oh,
all the local businesses were very grateful. So
yes, yes,
well,
definitely.
let's let's move to the next event. So this was at the
La Quinta Mazatlan.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, my wife is a big birding fan.
We,
So what hit me was this is actually it's a historic place, but it's
yes.
also the kind of the path for a number of migratory birds. So
Yeah. And it is a birding center there where people can like walk a little trail and watch birds, butterflies. That building there it was a house originally, and it was built in I think 1930s, and it was back when they used adobe to build homes and buildings. So they have some bricks even set to the side of adobe to show what that house was made. Of course, later on, like in the 70s, more was added to it, and it was not Adobe, but the main entrance house where we came in through that was, and they had some beautiful gardens to the side also, if you saw. But yeah, it was Raju saw this in Tejas, and they're like, yeah, we have to use this.
Yeah,
They envisioned all this, yeah, and then they brought Sandy in, and Sandy saw it and she ran with it too.
Sandy, what was your thought on this evening?
We wanted it to be a contrast. The first day was a party, it was celebration, it was vibrant, and this showing a different side of Rio Grande Valley with a more formal setup, a course meal. And this is my table here of the usual suspects that, I know you're very familiar with, but, just a different feel, soft
Sandy, you
music.
noticed I avoided sitting on the table?
Yes, I know. But so, yeah, showing a different side of the valley. And I know some people who arrived early, perhaps in the first bus, got a chance to see some birds. I saw that John Reed here next to me there took some photos. So, I think we missed out on an opportunity for a lot of folks to see birds, but certainly the early arrivals got the best view, and I'm glad that some people were able to enjoy the beautiful landscape.
But go around the table and introduce some of the analysts and say where did they come from?
Oh, you sure you want me to do that? Okay. Well, let's start from the left side with Rebecca Wedeman in the green jacket. So this Rebecca Wedeman with her own firm, I think it's pronounced Valor, right? And and then Julie Watson
She's
next.
she's from the Washington D.C. area.
Okay. And then Julie Watson's from our team. She is in our England office. And then Jeremy Cox, another Brit, um, right next to her. And then Josh Greenbaum from Enterprise Application Consulting, based here in the Bay Area. And then,
Yep.
of course, the very huggable Paul Greenberg, also from the Maryland, D.C., Virginia area. And then Brent Leary, for CRM Essentials right next to me. And then yours truly there in the center with the small face, right next to John Reed from the Northeast from Diginomica. And then also Phil Wainwright, his colleague from Diginomica. So this was our table. I think there were about 20 tables. Yeah, it was 20. We're aiming for 220 tables. And again, we had some local musicians, local decoration. That's one thing that we definitely did for the fiesta, the welcome reception as well, where we really use the local vendors, whether it's for florals, for music, for decoration, for furniture, for movie, really trying, actually not trying, but actually in fact did invest all the extra budget into the local economy and making sure that we are using, RGV, Rio Grande Valley or McAllen-based vendors for everything that we were doing.
And day one was already pretty packed, right? You had a whole bunch of panels and so on. So it's not like
Yes.
the analysts just woke up and said, "Oh, let's go to dinner."
No, this was definitely after a full day agenda. I mean, if anything, you guys deserve a nice, relaxing dinner. Yeah, it was definitely after a packed agenda, but in evening events is sort of that experience that we want to create.
And this was near a pool, if I remember. I mean, this was just a spectacular Spanish mansion. So great location.
Yeah, thank you from Mariana for helping us find it. If I were to plan an event like this all the way from the Bay Area, there was no way I would have, found all these wonderful local vendors to work with and all these, meaningful historical sites. So, my the kudos, go to Mariana and her husband, David, for helping us identify a short list of the best spots that represent the culture. And then, from there, we made the final decisions.
Well, Mariana, unless you have more on this day, let's go on to the next day.
Just that, thank you, Sandy, but for the kudos. But Raju was the one, he knows a lot. He's the one
Roger
who
does
gave me a lot of the spots. But I did the vendors. I did do the vendors. And Josh, I remember talking to Josh there. He was telling me a lot about the Adobe bricks. He knew a lot about it. And him and his wife, how they know a lot about that. But yeah, it's bringing back memories. I always spoke to them, and it was a lot of fun. Like
You
it is a lot of fun speaking to Vinny.
you mentioned Raju. Raju is an unbelievable. He's into so much in Zoho, right? Uh, Architecture, real estate, obviously all the technology. So I can believe that he
Yeah.
wanted to have it right here. But let's move on to the next day. And this was at the Grove. This was at an orange grove, right? So talk a little bit about this. And there's Mr. Delgado in one of the pictures.
Yes, yes. So I'll kick off and I'll definitely let Mariana talk more about all of this. But again, another different location for a different feeling. The Rio Grande Valley is known for citrus groves, or I was told. So it was
Yes.
important that we, did something that was also representative of the area. And Mr. Chef Delgado and his team helped us create yet another very different experience. This one was meant to be more, farm chic, I guess, and a different type of cuisine, different type of setup, where it felt more like a afternoon dinner party versus a formal dinner or welcome party. And one of the things that he did, and I think the next picture reflects that, was the barbacoa. Oh yeah. So on the right there, I'll let Mariana talk a little bit more about that because I don't feel like I'm knowledgeable enough. Another authentic experience we wanted people to to observe and be part of. So Mariana, please do talk about that.
Yeah. So again, I'm gonna go back to Raju. Raju was like, he said, I know there's a grove where we can set tables, and he was thinking about putting tables in the middle of the orchards. But he's the one. He said, there's got to be a grove. I know there is where we can do this one of the nights and have that experience. And he said, and we should do the underground, like an underground. Dinner, have something made underground. And I was like, okay, well, so that's where the McAllen Economic Development Center helped. And they found the grove for us. And it was like a few miles from where I live. And I was like, never even knew it was there. but yeah, so I just got in contact with the Grove, Eric at the Grove. And I said, hey, well, Raju wants, to dig a hole and maybe, our cook to make something underground. Can we do that? And he's like, oh yeah, no problem. We'll dig the hole for you and everything. I was thinking we were gonna have to go dig the hole, but he was awesome. So then Delgado came in, and I remember Delgado sat down with Sandy, and Sandy, let him know everything that she wanted. And he came through. I mean, he was very personable with everybody. He
So
gave
this was
presentation. Yeah.
so the piece of meat was cooked underground, right? So
Yes.
describe the meat and what happens when you cook it underground. Is it a different flavor? Describe that a little bit.
Yeah. So underground, in Mexico, that's originally, they cook, this was barbacoa. They cook everything over there, but this was barbacoa, and they cook it underground. Um, what else do I know about that? Of course, I'm pretty sure it gives it a different flavor. Um, but I just liked how Mr. Delgado, made it
Oh,
so
it
presentable,
was quite a event watching them then
presenting it.
dig the dirt up and bring it out and so on. So Sandy, you're right. It was an experience. Definitely.
Good.
Yeah.
And then I want to also point to the left photo. This was, the performers that we had hired, but this party, and in some ways planned, but also a little spontaneous too, the direction that it ended. And I wish I had a photo of that. But basically, we then had a couple, actually 3 members of the Zoho band. Randu Mani Dosa, and they have performed, actually you saw them perform in India, just, partial band members that were here at Zoho Day. They performed a few songs and in a wonderful dance that many analysts and definitely a lot of employees participated in. And then another surprise element of the evening was when a fellow analyst, Jason English from Intelix Research, performed a song that he had written about Zoho. So it was a wonderful way to wrap up the event, wrap up day 2. And yeah, no, I had a lot of fun. I thought it was really memorable.
It was, and again, in the morning we had a packed agenda again, a lot of one-on-ones I remember on day 2, and then it was this, and again we had to commute quite a bit, right, to go into the rural part of the valley, and so
yeah, this location, the Grove, was a little farther out, and then just adding to one of the earlier comments you were making about logistics, transportation, and being seamless. I mean, I don't know if it was seamless, for you guys, but
don't tell us because it looks seamless.
Okay, all right, I'll take that. But certainly, that we have 5 buses staggered, making sure that the people who want to go early or eat early got on the first bus. People who wanted some more time to rest after a full day of agenda took the last bus. I mean, it was all staggered by 10, 15 minutes on purpose to make sure that people had that choice.
Excellent. Well, let's go into the next event, and this is Sandy, go ahead, talk about the visit to the SpaceX facility, and I'll give you my perspective too.
Mariana will be able to talk a lot more about that. The one thing I want to mention is that, when we were wondering, gosh, should we do this? Should we not? We want to share a good, experience, a good impression of the Rio Grande Valley. What does that entail? I mean, obviously, this came as a part of it, and it wasn't the easiest to make happen, but Miss Mariana, Nino,
well,
help make it happen.
Sandra just, was not sure about the security, because it's out there, and but we contacted. She told me get some tour guides, so we contacted. We found Rocket Ranch, and Anthony was amazing with everything. He took us. We went to actually visited his Rocket Ranch and saw how he lives right there on the water, like on the border. And he's like, it's so safe here. It's like a cuddle sack. He says that they don't come through here because of the wildlife. First of all, they would get stuck and they can't run anywhere. So he's so safe there. And besides, now that Ilian is there, all the security is like intense. I mean, if you will get detained if you pass anything, pass a sign that says "do not go." They come out and they detain you. And back in, because we've been, and also we've been out there several times since maybe when we opened the office back in April of 2022. And Raju was the one that gave me this location. And when he gave it to me, when we had people visit from India, the first thing I wanted to do was to take them there because we visited and I loved it. I'm like, they have to go. And I knew they would like to go. So, and they all said, they would all say, yes, we definitely want to go. And we would take them out there. And we were actually back then 2 years ago, they were able to go up to the rocket, stand next to the rocket and take pictures there. Yeah. And then there was like grass and they had like a little cafe there where the rockets are down that street to the right. I think you can see like the roof of something, and that's like their cafe. And there's a sign and it says, do not cross over. And I remember we were there with my daughter and her dogs, and the dog stepped on the grass. Security came running out and, they told us, you need to move, It wasn't that strict back then. So we had been out there several times, with the family and taking the employees. So I was like, and then we spoke to Anthony at Rocket Ranch, and it's safe. So we're like, it's a go. Let's take them. Because she was, concerned about your security, first of all, and safety also. And Anthony's like, I have a safety in place. He explained to us what, how he was going to keep everybody together, and we also told he wanted to go by his by Rocket Ranch, but we're not. We did let him know we're not going to have enough time.
Yes.
That's where we had to plan. Okay, what are we going to do? So we decided to separate. The 4 buses, because 4 buses went out there, and have 2 on the first location where the rockets are, and then 2 start at the launch pad where
Well,
Boca Chica Beach is.
so I'm from Florida,
Mhm.
and obviously we're very proud of Kennedy Space Center here.
Mhm.
So I was a little, I know Elon's doing great things, but my God, it's not going to compare to uh, Cape Canaveral and so on. So I was excited to go, and
Mhm.
I think the sign that says Gateway to Mars, this
Mhm.
is where the future of space travel resides. They're doing a lot of launches from Florida now, but increasingly it's going to move to Boca Chica. Is that how do you pronounce it?
Chica, Chica,
Boca
Chica,
Chica,
Boca Chica.
which is about an hour's drive from where we were. So thank you for working this in. I mean, it's still a work in progress, right? It's
Oh yeah. The
when
operations are going to get bigger. I mean, it was just on the news how they were able to, even do some swaps and get some more land to, make their operations bigger. Now, Anthony was saying, these are the good old times that, we're able to, or we're allowed to go actually in there. And eventually, probably we will not be able to go in there anymore. But so I'm glad that we did it. Yeah.
as an analyst, I like different vendors will tack on different things to analyst days. As a vendor called Plex that used to take us to manufacturing plants, like customers' manufacturing plants. I really enjoyed that. I've had a couple who've taken those to data centers. So this was like, my God, how often do you get taken to a rocket ship launch facility? So very, very creative. Thank you for including this in the program.
Sandy and Raju.
Yeah, well, it was definitely an optional add-on for analysts. And it's funny because that we like doing something like this and have people opt in or opt out. And this, like you said, it's just like it's the future, it's innovation. And also, being part of Rio Grande Valley, this, influx of talent that is coming in. So we wanted to showcase that. But here's a funny fact for you, Vinny. Okay, so usually I estimate like how many analyst guests are interested in something. My guess, usually I'm pretty on it, but I was so off this time around, right? This time I thought, okay, 25% of the analysts will go to this, I think. Because I'm like, long travel. They want to get out of here. We're already doing the Grove thing. And I thought next day everybody's out. Oh my gosh. It was like 80% of the analysts that wanted to go. So that shows like the intrigue of SpaceX and just the curiosity that analyst community just genuinely have. So I was so way off count. But hey, it all worked out in the end. But that's why we had to divide to several groups, several buses, and boom, 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 stagger it. So I'm glad that you enjoyed it.
Well, and the other thoughtful thing you guys did, I remember in India we had a stop on the way to when we were in Tenkasi, where suddenly out of nowhere people showed up with boxes of lunch, right?
Yes, yes.
My God, that was so thoughtful. Well, you guys had on the way to Boca Chica a restaurant, um, barbecue restaurant where we stopped to use the restroom on the way, and on the way back, they had box lunches for us. So again, that was another thoughtful thing because obviously it's such a secure area. We couldn't have eaten anywhere near
Mm.
Yeah.
No rooms, no
spaces.
restrooms. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything was intentional. I'll put it that way. There was a lot of thought that went into when to stop, where to stop.
Mhm.
Without dwelling on this much longer. Again, like Mariana, she actually. This is a little anecdote for you. She because I was like, no, we need a clean restroom. We need one that can, go through like 70, 80, 85 people quickly. We need to make sure we get them to eat, but not order. Like, everything was intentional.
Mhm.
Mariana, I'll tell you what she did. She actually went to different restrooms along the way to find the best one. And this is a type of detail, I don't want to sound like I'm bragging, but we care
Oh,
so
brag
much.
away. Sandy, you
We
deserve
care.
it.
We
Yes.
care so much about the experience we create for you guys.
So,
And Mariana went to different restroom and took pictures of restrooms for me to see. I mean, that is the amount of care we put into it.
I was just reflecting you, Sandy. I mean, yeah.
No, I mean, we care. And
I
I mean, this
understood
whole
you.
thing, Mariana,
Yeah.
has been incredible partner
so
to our team.
let me ask you this about feedback, right? You had 17 customer executives from around the world. What did they think of this? I mean, they were very friendly. I mean, they were very accessible. Thank you for all that. You know, I remember one panel where I tweeted out where I forget who the moderator was. Basically, he just turned over to the customers and said, "It's your session. Analysts ask questions." And I was like, how many vendors would allow that, right? Where you basically just allow analysts to fire away questions. So you made them very accessible. But what was the feedback from them? They were like, these analysts are crazy people, man. Why did you have us here?
I think overall positive feedback. I think that for many of them, well, actually for all of them, the border of Texas and Mexico is not their first U.S. destination, so it was a new experience for them as well. And we wanted to make sure that we're taking care of our own customer speakers, right, who travel all the way around the world, Southeast Asia, Europe, you name it. This time we had that global representation for our customers as well. And so wanted to make sure that they had the chance to really explore a new culture and that they perhaps did not know about the United States of America. There are always things, me, Vinny. So when you ask something like that, I kind of gravitate towards what we can improve on, but I won't get there. One thing I do want to say is what we have been trying to do the last few years, whether it's Zoholics or Zoho Day, with the analysts and media, is provide that access. We don't want scripted panels where you're like, what do you love about Zoho? Like, tell me about that metric. Like, we want you guys to ask the good, bad, and the ugly and let things come out organically. So I hope that you felt that and that, analysts did appreciate that access.
Definitely was. And what's the feedback from your management? I mean, your executives. At the end of the day, did they come to you and say, "Sandy, that was a waste of time"? That would thank
No, I mean, overwhelmingly good feedback. I think now that it's been like a month, oh my God, it's been a month. It's nice to have that time to process, right? Because now we're in this debrief process on, okay, what can we do better? But I would say that overwhelmingly, there's a lot of positive feedback. Again, it's like the bar gets raised each time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, in 2025, what the heck are we going to do, right? So, no, but it always works out. I mean, a few things that, yeah, I mean, it was from internal leadership team, absolutely good feedback. From the analyst community, that we do surveys and that I read through them very carefully. I always trying to find ways to improve. One a couple stats that I was really happy with was 100% of the respondents felt that Zoho Day was definitely very worthwhile. It's worth their time. And 92.8%, I think, the latest, felt that Zoho Day was one of the very top industry events, all across. And, that's an important metric for us. We don't want to just do a good job in our own standards. We want to continue to push the envelope overall across the industry.
That's fantastic. Mariana, from your point of view, logistically or any other way, what would you say you want to improve on?
That I would want to
Improve.
Look, I don't see anything that they can improve really, because I saw them work here. I saw Sandy and her group, and they just flowed together, and they were like divide and conquer. And they were in my office, and they set up in meeting rooms, and they would, they would get together, and they were so organized. And Soho Sheets, oh my God, they really use that. And they use so many tools and they were so organized. And Sandy told me, "Okay, girls, time to get organized." Right, a couple of times,
I only
because
have one. I only have one suggestion.
let me see.
Reduce the amount of food. You had food every couple of hours. So
Sandy, too much food, Sandy. Yeah, but it was amazing to see them work together, and wow. And again, I think it's a reflection of the upper management, everybody, Sandy, and then above her, and also the employees. I mean, I want to give them a shout out. Her group they were all amazing how they work together under so much pressure and so much stress. And I was like, I felt it, and I was like, I was just a minimal part outside, a little dot outside of what I was doing to compared to what they had to, do logistics and everything. So I was like, wow, I really admire all of them. Sandy too, because it's something like I don't know. It was something kind of heavy before. I felt it. And like I said, they probably felt it 100 times more, but,
Sandy, one
um,
other metric you should count, be proud of is, I would say almost 90% of slides did not have the NDA words on it. You were very open. Okay. So next time share that metric too, because a lot of events, we go to 30-40% are under NDA. You go, guys, come on. So thank you for being open in that fashion too. And the accessibility to your executives and to customers was fantastic. So
Well, thank
kudos,
you.
did a very, very good job, especially having to coordinate 3 airports. I was thinking, my God, how the hell did they do that? But yeah, it was seamless. So thank you.
Thank you, Vinny. Thanks for always supporting us and being there.
Well, 125 analysts. I'm just one voice, but you deserve all the kudos. So thank you on behalf of all of us.